Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I thought I would show everyone all the resources I use to analyze an investment idea in a public company. You'll be able to see how to do this yourself with your own investment ideas. I wish someone had taught me this a few years ago, and I apologize for not making this video sooner. It is probably one of the best videos I think I could make, yet I only just thought of this idea. Actually, my friend gave me this idea. So let's go through all of the places you need to go to gather the information you need. Okay, the first thing you're going to need is a brokerage account to actually buy and sell shares. So if you go to this link in any of my videos in the description, you'll get up to $200 in Interactive Brokers stock. Now that'll take you to this Interactive Brokers. This is the platform, and you'll have to sign up and log in and things like that and deposit some money, and away you go. So look, to make an investment, you do need this brokerage account. And look, if you have something like Robinhood or Webull, if you have access to something like that, well, look, most likely you're not going to have access to some of the markets throughout the world. So that puts you at a serious disadvantage, as some of the best companies in the world, they're not in America. So like, I personally have investments in Japan and Australia, and I'm closely looking at the Chinese, Canadian, and British stock market as well. And I can invest in these companies through my Interactive Brokers account. So that's resource number one. Now, the next thing we're going to do is I'm actually going to use Redbubble as my example here, and I'm going to show you how to pull an annual report. So you go to just the website of the company. This could be any company. I've just chosen Redbubble as an example. And you need to go find in their menu, you need to find the Investor Center. Here it is here. If you click on that Investor Center, it takes you to here. So this is like the where all the documents they keep are. You get annual reports, investor presentations, things like that. So here is the investor presentation. This is what it looks like. So it's a letter to shareholders. It's this 22nd of April, 2021. And you can go through this. When they have like a conference call, they'll often be going through these slides on the conference call with their shareholders. So you can access this after the conference call itself, but this is generally what the CEO and the CFO and the people in charge of the company, this is what they're going to go through in that conference call. The next thing we want to find is the annual report. So back in the investor section, you can go to annual reports, and I've got an annual report pulled up here. This is a lot more of a boring document. This is more of, look, it looks nice here, but it's like, what is it? 63 pages long. There's a lot of kind of commentary. It's a pretty long, boring document, but look, this is where you get the best information. So somewhere in the start of this annual report, you're going to get the chairman's letter, which is a bit of a brief from the chairman. Then you get the CEO's review, and that normally goes for a few pages. That's where you hear from the CEO directly. And this is exactly where I go to get a feel for the CEO and where they're taking the company and what I think of them. This is where I learn about the CEO. Okay, so I've scrolled down, it's on page 34 of this particular document, so about the middle. And this is where you get the statement of comprehensive income, so the income statement. This is a balance sheet. And then you want the cash flow statement. They're the three major statements that you'll need. The cash flow statement is what we'll want for like operating cash flow minus maintenance CapEx, which is this type of stuff here. We get a feel for their free cash flow. So that's a very important place to find the free cash flow number. And then we've got the current assets. We want total current assets here to be greater than current liabilities, which it isn't quite. So that's a bit of a problem, which I've flagged before. So this is where you pull all the accurate information. So 30th of June, 2020. So there's going to be a 30th of June 2021, hopefully coming out in the not too distant future. So that'll be good to compare these numbers with those new numbers. Okay, the next place I want to show you is a platform called the TIKR terminal. Here it is here, TIKR. Now, this is a really interesting, I really enjoy this piece of software. It's free at the moment. At some point, they're probably going to charge for this, but I can look up companies in all different parts of the world and get actually their statements. Here's the cash flow statement, which we were just looking at, the annual report. I can compare to make sure this cash flow statement matches the annual report to get a very accurate number. I got the balance sheet here, the income statement, and I get some really awesome things here. Like I can actually get some valuation metrics here. So we got enterprise value to EBIT. We can, at the moment, is 27 times. So I can have a look at lots of different price factors here as well. Really good place to have all the good information from that annual report all compiled somewhere cleanly. Now, what I really want to show you is where I'm tracking investing gurus. So I click on this little section here and I can find, for example, Monish Pabrai, so Pabrai investment funds. Now, in Dataroma and a lot of other resources, you're only going to see these 13F filings, these 13F ones. But here on TIKR Terminal, it's awesome because they show you all of the international holdings as well. So we've got the Indian companies, we've got the Korean companies here, we've got Shinniken as the Japanese filing, we've got the Turkish RACIS as well. This is how we see really more of the portfolio. There might be more things in the portfolio that are a bit smaller, but at least this gives us so much more information than just the 13Fs. So TIKR is critical for that. So I really like this part of TIKR, and they've got some pretty great gurus here. I found Monish Pabrai here, we've got Berkshire Hathaway, we've got Chuck Aker here. Now, if we actually scroll through some of these lists, you can learn about some very interesting investors. For example, Patrick Dorsey is someone that I like to follow. Here's Dorsey Asset Management, and I can have a look at his portfolio. He's actually got he's all in America with the 13Fs, but that's fine. And I can look at his portfolio. But I only discovered Pat Dorsey from this TIKR Terminal. So great resource here. Okay, now for just the basic financial stats for the company. Now, obviously I had TIKR Terminal and I had the annual report as well, but sometimes I'm just like quickly trying to find some things. I'm looking for, like, here's the market cap right here. I'm in Yahoo Finance. So here's the stock price, the market cap. If I want enterprise value, I go into statistics. Here's the enterprise value. And I also grab down here in the balance sheet, it tells me the total cash number and the total debt. So there's obviously a lot of cash here and not much debt. And that's where I find this information for any company, really. Now, the next really cool resource that I have to show you is this page here from Morningstar. Now, I'll keep a link in the description here, and you can actually, instead of searching for different companies, you actually get a different look. I don't know why they've made this website like this, but if you want to change companies in this format, which I really like this particular format, I actually go into the URL here and actually just change the ticker. So at the moment it's Redbubble, RDBBF, which is the American over-the-counter stock, the stock listing. And let's say I want to put in AAPL, so I've got Apple. And I just type in the new ticker here in the URL. So that was Apple. I want Bank of America, for example. There we go, it just pulls up the information for them. So that's how I move between different companies here in Morningstar. Okay, now I want to say, for example, I want to calculate the revenue growth from 2016 to 2020. So what I do is I've just Googled a CAGR, compound annual growth rate calculator. And it says starting value. Okay, starting value is 115. Okay. And the ending value is, well, we're not going to do the trailing 12 months. We'll just go till 2020, 416. And periods is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, cool. And I calculate, and it tells me the annual growth rate for the revenue is growing at 29%. Growing a bit faster than that because I know the trailing 12 months is going to be pretty big, but that's fine. So that's one way to calculate the compound annual growth rate of whatever you want to calculate. Now, fortunately here, they actually calculate a lot of it for us here in growth. So they're saying is here, the 3-year average is 43%. From the previous year, from 2019 to 2020, it was 35%. There's not much information here, but if I go to something like Apple, it will have a lot more information because they've got a lot more data. So here we go. So if I go to the growth rates, it's telling me that the 10-year average of revenue for Apple is 15%. The operating income average is 13% per annum for the 10 years. Net income is 15%. Earnings per share is nearly 20% growth. So that's where you find a lot of the growth rates. It's here in the key ratios section in Morningstar. Also here in the profitability section, you get awesome, this return on invested capital percentage already calculated for us, which is awesome. Return on equity numbers, which is already calculated for us. And we also get gross margin percentage here, so we can see that. I get the shares outstanding number, so I can have a look at whether that's increasing or decreasing. As you can see with Apple, it's decreasing. We see the free cash flow even calculated for us nicely. So even Redbubble, they've actually calculated the free cash flow for us as well. So this is a really great resource to get a lot of the information. Now I need to fact check this. This is very important to double check these numbers against what I see in the annual report, because Morningstar are not perfect. They sometimes make mistakes. So be very, very aware of that. Before you invest any money, please double check your numbers. The next resource that I'm going to show you is what's called the Net Promoter Score. And all I've done here is just type into Google, Redbubble Net Promoter Score. And it comes up here as this Comparably website. That's the Net Promoter Score. Now, Net Promoter Score is how I answer the question, do the customers love the business? This score is ranked on numbers 100 to minus 100. Anything in the positive is actually pretty good. Anything higher than 50 is great. So this is 54 and it's very, very high. So that's great. I can compare that with other companies as well. So if I want to type in, for example, Nintendo Net Promoter Score, it tells me it's a 63. So that's even higher. So that's pretty cool. So that's how I do the Net Promoter Score. The next place I go for information is Value Investors Club. This is a fantastic resource and I highly recommend signing up to Value Investors Club, because you will get access to people's write-ups on this company. So this is where you learn about the ins and outs of the company from somebody outside of the company. These people are very smart. They put a lot of work into these write-ups. So I highly recommend reading through all the write-ups on each of the companies. This is the Redbubble one, which I've read, and I would go through this in detail. This was, even though it was written in 2019. Now the next place I go is called the Corner of Berkshire in Fairfax. And what I do is, this is another place for, it's more of a forum for value investors on particular companies. And what I do is I just search for the company, Redbubble, and there is normally a thread, a couple of threads here. This is all one thread, and I can go into the thread and start reading about what people have been discussing. They're just people, general people like you and me, discussing the pros and cons of a particular investment. So that's really cool. So I can have a read through everyone's opinions, get some, this is where you get a lot of good negative thesis ideas. So like if you think everything is just amazing for a particular investment, you want to find out what's wrong with it, you go to somewhere like this and people have thought about all the things that could be wrong. So that's great. I think that's a fantastic resource and it's actually really important for my investing, and I think it should be for everyone's investing. And the last place I get a lot of information is, of course, on YouTube. So look, Redbubble is an interesting company, so I want to get a feel for people who are actually using Redbubble. So I've just written selling on Redbubble, and I watch a handful of these videos about what the experience is like from a seller's point of view. So instead of me having to find a seller to talk to about this, YouTube's great. People are going to talk about their experiences, whether they've made money or lost money, or they like Redbubble, they don't, or Etsy's better, or whatever it is. I'm going to find out here in YouTube. So I think that's a great another research tool. Obviously, I make videos on YouTube as well. So I think YouTube is pretty great for research. And of course, I highly recommend actually looking at other stock analyses of the company. So look, I've got one here. Now, Redbubble has been done by a few other people as well. So whether I like these investors or don't like these investors, it doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to get different opinions. Investing with Frank, I think, has done a fantastic job. So I have a lot of respect for him and the way he goes about his analysis. And yeah, I have learned a lot from him, and I learn a lot from other YouTubers as well. So please get just multiple opinions. It really is beneficial for your investments. So I think that's it. I think that's all the resources that I use, and I wish someone had laid this all out for me a few years ago. So I hope it at least has helped someone out there. Now, hopefully you can do some good solid research into whatever investment you're thinking of looking at. Hit that like button if it's helped you. Subscribe to keep up with my content, and I will see you in the next video.